All right, today we're diving into a really fascinating theory that basically reframes everything we think we know about language. It uses this amazing ancient symbol, the Ouroboros, the snake eating its own tail, to argue that language isn't just some tool we use, but a living, breathing, totally self-contained universe. So yeah, let's see how deep this rabbit hole really goes. So let's start with a really fundamental question. Is language something we just invented to point at things and, give them labels? Or is there something way more profound going on every single time we speak? Well, the theory we're digging into today suggests the answer is a lot weirder and honestly, a lot more interesting than you might think. And this is the core idea right here. The Ouroboros theory of language, or UTL for short. It basically proposes that any language is a complete closed loop. Every rule, every single word, every possible sentence, get this, even every mistake, is already contained within the system itself. Just like that Ouroboros snake, language is constantly creating itself from its own parts.
Now, to really get how this works, the theory paints this picture of a constant, almost epic battle happening inside language itself. It's a battle between two fundamental forces, the drive for stable, predictable order, and the pull of creative, messy chaos.
This battle actually lines up with some classic linguistic ideas. On one side, you've got order, the static nature. This is your formal grammar, your dictionary definitions, what linguists would call long or competence. It's basically the blueprint for the language. But then on the other side, you've got chaos, the dynamic nature. And this is how we actually talk, right? With all our slang and stumbles and inside jokes. It's messy, it's unpredictable, and it's totally alive.
So here's the kicker. The theory says language isn't one or the other. It's the tension between them that matters. Think about it. Without the stable rules, language would just be noise, total nonsense. But without the messy, chaotic reality of how we speak every day, it would just be a dead system, completely incapable of growing or creating anything new.
And this brings us to what might be the most powerful part of the entire theory. If tension is the engine, then paradox, straight up contradiction, is the high-octane fuel that makes it run.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? The true magic of language isn't just about labeling the world as it is. It's about its incredible capacity to create new ideas, new feelings, even new realities, basically out of thin air, just by smashing contradictory concepts together.
The theory actually has a name for this little spark, the locus of generative tension. It's that moment when you hear a metaphor or a joke or a good bit of irony. Your brain detects a contradiction, a puzzle, and in the process of solving that puzzle, poof, a totally new meaning is born. This is linguistic creation happening in real time.
Let's make this super concrete with something we all use, sarcasm. So imagine it's pouring rain outside and your friend just says, "Great weather we're having, huh?" Okay, step 1. They just broke a basic rule of conversation. Be truthful. Step 2. This creates tension, right? Because their words totally clash with reality. And then step 3, your brain instantly resolves that tension by finding the new implied meaning, the sarcasm. It turns out, breaking the rules is absolutely essential for creating these richer layers of communication.
Okay, so we have this whole system of order, chaos, and creative tension. The theory proposes that the whole thing is guided by 4 fundamental forces that keep it all running smoothly.
Let's break them down real quick. 2 of these forces are all about stability. You've got symmetry, which is the reliable pattern of grammar that makes sentences make sense. And you've got balance, which is that unspoken agreement we have to be truthful and relevant to keep a conversation on track. Then 2 forces drive change. There's unity, which is the drive to shape all the words into one coherent message, and of course paradox, which we've seen uses contradiction to spark all that cool innovation. Together, these 4 forces create this perfect dynamic equilibrium.
So where does all of this lead? What's the ultimate point of this massive, self-eating, self-creating system? Well, the theory builds to a conclusion that is, honestly, pretty surprising and deeply human. It's not about information. It's about ethics. After all this complexity, the rules, the chaos, the creative sparks, the theory argues that the ultimate purpose of language is not to simply describe reality. I know, it's kind of wild, right? We're all trained to think of language as this clear window onto the world, but the UTL says no. That's just a secondary function. It's almost a side effect of its true, much deeper purpose.
So if it's not about description, then what is it? What is the one irreducible truth that this entire incredible system is built to serve?
This is it.
This is the whole ballgame. The entire system, all the rules, all the chaos, all the creative sparks, it all exists for one reason: to build trust between people. It's a machine that's designed to allow us to intentionally cooperate and build a shared world with each other. Language isn't for describing reality, it's for creating it together.
But hang on, why an ethical conclusion? Well, it's because language knows it has limits. The theory recognizes something it calls the persistent unknown. You know, those huge questions about consciousness or free will that words can't ever fully answer. And since language can't deliver absolute empirical truth, its ultimate goal has to be something else. It has to be a moral anchor. It's a system designed not to define the universe for us, but to help us cooperate and thrive within it.
And that leaves us with a really powerful final thought to chew on. If language isn't just about exchanging data, but about actively building a world based on trust, then every single conversation is an act of creation. So the next time you speak, just ask yourself, what kind of world, what kind of shared reality are you building with your words?